Hey, what's up, guys? Dakota here, and today I have my friend Lucas with me.
Namaste.
And we're going to be talking about why we believe either the Yeezys or Y-3 are better shoes.
I'm on the Yeezy camp. He's on the Y-3 camp, which
Yeah.
we do have both. I'm not like just a pure Yeezy head. I have half and half. I think I have like 4 Yeezys, 4 Y3s. You've had a couple Yeezys.
Yeah, I got rid of them all, though. Actually, I've only owned one, but I got rid of it.
Oh, okay. So we've both seen both sides of the coin, and we kind of can make interesting points to the discussion.
So the way that we're going to be judging the criteria of whether or not we are on one side of the coin is the price of the shoes, the style of the shoes or the look of them, and the build and or quality of the shoes.
We thought this would be a really cool comparison because, they're both Adidas, and there's just a lot of sort of comparable comparisons in terms of like the production wise, but in terms of style and just about everything else, they're really different, and they're almost just two completely different worlds of fashion. Like Y3 is definitely more tech wear. That's why the code is kind of representing it, and then Yeezy's more of like the streetwear kind of a meme. So, we just thought it'd be a really interesting discussion to have.
Facts.
It kind of also just connects to, on a broader scale, almost just tech wear versus streetwear in general. And that sort of overall aesthetic differences.
First off, we're going to talk about price point, and I guess I'll just start off the conversation with why I prefer Y3's price point. And I guess with the price point, I'm going to also tie into like means of like purchasing it too, like availability. I think in the past, Yeezys were like really, really hard to get because of how exclusive they were, but a lot of times now they sit more. They don't resell for as much, like some of the newer shoes, and there's so many that Kanye's coming out with that
There's so many of them.
Yeah, it's easy. It's kind of easy to get a pair of Yeezys now. Kind of like back in the day in like 2011 and stuff is probably when I remember like the Kaza highs getting really popular, and those would sell out really fast, and it was kind of like you could only get them secondhand. But
So just to clarify for the people listening, we're mainly talking about sort of aftermarket. Like that's a really big determination of price because that's what most people get the shoes. It's just aftermarket.
Yeah.
Especially with like the hype Yeezys, which just sell it instantly.
Yeah, and even with like the Y3s, I don't think most people purchase them full price.
Yeah.
Like the only ones I can think of that have been worth it in the last few years that I've wanted to get full price, but I still haven't because they are kind of expensive, is the Kaiwas, I think is what they're called. Those new ones.
Oh, yeah.
Those ones look sick. With the Kazas, it's always aftermarket because you're always buying it on sale for like 50% off or off of Grailed or something like that, because some of them do, like some of the older ones are rare, and there's a lot of, like, there's tons of different silhouettes. I think that on average, a Y3 shoe is probably going to be around $200 is like about how much you're going to pay. Usually if you're paying more, then you're going to want like a more rare silhouette.
I got my Kaza highs for $200, and that was on the Y3 website. They were just on sale. That wasn't even like aftermarket or anything. Brand fucking new.
Yeah, I
got
that,
for $200.
I did the same thing. I got them from like Farfetched, and it was like 60% off or something. But you're usually paying around that much for the Y3s, and I'd say that for the most part, they're pretty easy to purchase. So like, once they become beat up, I can get new ones fairly easily, which is why I prefer them over the Yeezys, because I had like a lot of struggles getting Yeezys, and then I would just decide that I didn't want to pay the resale because it was so high back in the day. But now there's a lot more of the shoes that sit, and like there's a lot more different silhouettes and colors, so it's easier to get. So
yeah, I think
it's more similar now.
Like 2 or 3 years ago, Y3 would have fucking killed. There would have been no fucking contest. Like the Yeezys would sell it so fast, and you'd have to get them for like $500 fucking dollars. But now, like the Desert Rats, you can get for $200.
Yeah, they're like
I got
retail.
the 700s for $250. So the Yeezy prices are coming down. I still think Y3 is better price because there's just more of them and all that shit. But the Yeezys, the prices are plummeting, but also the Y3s do go on sale. The Yeezys really, they don't. It's either the retail is pretty much the best you're gonna get.
Yeah,
you're never gonna get lower than retail.
Yeah,
unless they're fucked up and destroyed.
Retail on the Y3 shoes are higher, besides mainline Yeezy and mainline Yoji, which the aspects, we're mostly focusing on the Adidas stuff, but I don't have any experience with mainline Y3 or not Y3, like Yohji Yamamoto shoes. I know that he's like released leather boots and stuff like that in the past, and that's made in Japan, and those are probably a lot more expensive. And I'd imagine that the quality and build's a lot nicer. The normal Y3 shoes, they're made in China, which is probably like the only aspect of it that I don't like. But the quality is all right. Like on the table, Lucas has the mainline like Yeezy Supply shoes, and those are made in Europe, right?
Spain, yeah.
Yeah,
Spain.
so the quality of those are definitely going to be higher. But then again, those are more expensive than like the 750, not 750, like 700s or
like these were
350s or whatever retail.
I got these for maybe a little under 500, which isn't terrible for, you know, a shoe made in Spain, all that shit. But there's definitely a huge fucking price difference between something like this and then the regular Adidas Y3 Yeezy line stuff.
Yeah. So just keep that into consideration. You know, the main lines of either versions of these are going to be a lot more premium materials and more expensive because they make them in Europe or in Japan where the labor is more expensive. But for the most part, we don't really wear them that much. He has had more experience than I have because it's honestly easier because there's not that many like Yohji boots that come out, honestly. They're pretty much only available on Grailed, so then it's aftermarket anyways, and most designer shoes that are so expensive when they start out become very, very cheap on Grailed. So
yeah.
And same thing with the Yeezy Supply stuff. Like those become cheaper aftermarket, and sometimes they go on sale on sites.
So it sounds like in terms of price, it's Y3.
Y3's probably I think Y3's a little bit better.
Which Yeezy has made a lot of progress and improvement, which is cool. But right now, today, 2018, Y3 is just a better price. This is how I feel about style. The Y3 shoes look really, 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 really cool on their own. You know what I mean? But personally, I kind of have a difficult time sort of putting that together with my outfits, what I typically wear. You know, I like jeans, I like t-shirts, because I'm not really that big of a tech wear guy, you know? So I like the Y3s a lot, but and they look like the Kaza Highs look so fucking dope on their own. Like, I always look at them like these are the coolest shoes of all time. But I tend to have a very difficult time trying to put something together that makes them work without looking kind of like out of place or weird. But with the Yeezys, they're very much so. It's kind of just a. I don't know if it just fits my style more in particular, which it does, but it kind of has a more of a universal like appeal, which I think that's why it's partially a partial reason as to why they're so popular in terms of like regular people being into Yeezy. You know, like there's like Diego. You know, there's like regular people and friends we have that aren't into fashion, but they're like those no Yeezys. They look sick because they're very simple. Like usually they're simple silhouettes. You can just throw them on, and they pretty much work with most outfits, and you're good to go. Whereas with the Y3s, it's much more of an intricate design, and if you don't really plan it out right, and there's exceptions obviously, like these causes are pretty. You can pretty much put that on anything, but I feel like just overall, the Y3s don't have that sort of universal put on, and you're good to go.
It's not even really like the rest of my outfit. I think it's more of the silhouette and the texture of the different stuff. I like how Y3 shoes are more like geometric looking, and like Y3s are kind of more, or Yeezys are more like round or like bulbous, which the soles are kind of bulbous on both of them, but I think the uppers are more like weird geometric shapes.
Oh yeah, well even on this, like you have all these straps on it, and you have like these squares.
On top of me just liking the silhouette more because of it being geometric, and I have a weird thing with like edges and patterns for aesthetics. Y3 shoes, since there are so many silhouettes, they have different shoes that can fit different people. Like, for example, my dad has some tennis shoes that they have because he likes them, and it fits his aesthetic a lot. The only issue is, because I think they have different silhouettes that are good for different aesthetics, but you said, I think the biggest issue, honestly, is the colors. They don't have that many vibrant colors.
Yeah.
The only times when they do, it's like weird floral. They had a bunch of Y3 floral stuff, but they don't really have that many like normal shoe colors for the most part. Yeah. They mostly just have like monochrome tones and like black and white and gray.
Well, I was just gonna bring that in. That's probably the biggest thing for me personally, is because a lot of the photos online I feel like don't do it justice, but I really like the color, this sort of tan beigey kind of a color that these have, and the desert rat boots have. It's a very interesting look, and maybe it's just because I'm kind of a deserty boy. I like tans, But I just love the color on that so much. And I think the Yeezys in general typically have a pretty good sort of the coloring on it is pretty good. They have good, variety with the color. They have good, they put the right colors together. Even the newest Yeezys, which are the most fucking, the 700s, which are almost too colorful. Almost. They're really just bombastic, which it works. I think it looks pretty good overall. Y-3 doesn't have anything like that, though. Y-3 is purely, I feel like Y-3 is totally into the silhouette of the shoe. That's like the number one fucking thing.
Yeah.
Which it is really important. Whereas I feel like Yeezy is more like the color. I feel like the color is a bit more important. And then also just the, because like Y-3 is mainly just neoprene and then some canvas shoes. Is it?
They have leathers and stuff too. They also have gimmicks where they come out with like very special limited shoes that are 3D printed soles, or there's an all leather version of this of the Kaza High, stuff like that.
Ooh, it's kind of hot.
Yeah, and those are typically a little bit more expensive. So I'd say that those things are kind of more comparable to the mainline Yeezy stuff. But
yeah, I just remember there's actually some colored shoes that Y-3 has. Like, I think they have a Kaza boot that's colored. Isn't it like a blue Kaza boot?
Yeah, they have blues and
but
and
I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't come across. It doesn't. I don't know if it's like
they're not like earth tones. They're like fucking Crayola colors when they do.
Well, then also
color.
I think the thing with that is, if you have a crazy silhouette and crazy colors, it's too much. If you have kind of a more toned down silhouette and like really cool colors, then it works.
Yeah.
But when you try to max out both, it's like overload. I can't take it. You know what I mean? So I think that's a problem with the. I should say problem. That's just the thing with the Y3s, is that they have such a unique silhouette that if you try splashing color on there, it becomes too much. So build is it's kind of a multifaceted classification, because within build you have comfort, you have durability of the shoe. So there's a lot of different things we got to talk about within the build of the shoe itself. One of the most important things is comfort, and it's comfort's a really weird thing, because that's actually, in my opinion, it's kind of a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a bed, Some people like soft beds, some people like firm beds. So I think in terms of which one's more comfortable, comes down to kind of a subjective feel. In my opinion, the Y3, the Yeezys rather, they have a very sort of snug comfort, and the sole tends to be very firm. Not like firm to the point where it's uncomfortable, but firm where it's like there's enough, there's a little bit of cushioning, but it's not like you're walking on pillows. You know what I mean? Whereas with a lot of the Y3 stuff, they're very squishy, which is, if that's your taste, that's cool. But another thing with me with the Y3s is most of them have that kind of elasticy material on the top. Neoprene, is that what it is? I'm not as literate when it comes to materials and all that jazz, so excuse me if I misspeak. But yeah, the neoprene material, it's cool. It has a lot of breathability, which is cool, so it keeps your feet cool. But my big issue with it is it seems to me that my feet kind of almost spill out of the shoe sometimes. Like, especially I have I think they're like the runners, the Y3 runners, and especially on my left foot, because my left foot's a little bit bigger than my right foot. It'll just spill over the side, and like my big toe is barely overhanging the sole itself, which is very uncomfortable. So personally, I'm just more of a fan of that sort of snug, tight finish with the firm sole, as opposed to the sort of free-flowing neoprene, pillowy sole. So are you more of into like the softness of it?
The only shoes out of the Y3s that I own that, I kind of have that spilling issue that you were talking about, because that does happen, are the Pro Zips. Because it's because in particular the sole of the Pro Zip is like a lot more firm.
Narrow.
It's like a very sharp edge on the end of the sole, and it's also like thick, like not very malleable like rubber or something like that. It's like very strong, and your foot can go over that really easily. And I've had times where like I almost rolled my ankle because of it. With the Y3s, considering the build, it's really interesting to me that they're one of the most popular techwear shoes, because for the most part they don't have any technical properties besides breathability. Like a lot of times with shoes, when you want like a techwear shoe or something like that that's going to protect you from shit, you want like a hiking boot type of thing that's going to be really rugged, and you're going to be able to like walk through a stream and not get your feet too wet and stuff like that. But Y3s don't really have that. I mean, I've gone through the snow with my Kazas, and they have the neoprene on the top, and it was fine in the snow, but in heavy rains, it would get my feet a little bit wet.
Yeah, I might get flack for this, but to me, the Y3s are pretty much universally not tech wear at all. Like, they have the aesthetic of tech wear for sure, but in terms of actual technical properties and the durability of it, I don't know if it's as much as a fucking hiking boot. You know what I mean?
Oh no, it's not. It's not a good tech wear shoe in terms of like technical properties.
Mm-hmm.
I've worn all of my Y3 shoes probably more than any other shoes in the past 3 years. And these ones, my first ones I bought, Kaza Highs, have the most wear to them. I've owned them the longest. The soles are super fucked. But
it doesn't look bad.
Yeah, I mean, it took years to get to that point. At one point, I wore them every single day for a year, I think. And, they start out as like this bulbous round sole, a lot of their silhouettes, and they kind of flatten out over time. And then eventually now it's cracked a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely worn down, but I've never had like a random hole get made in them. I know that happened to you with one of your shoes because the dog
I was actually
stepped
gonna
on
bring
you.
that up. In my Bashios, which are the canvas ones, my dog stepped on my foot and his claw just dug into the shoe, and it's not that noticeable, but it did make a hole on it pretty easily. And that was like the 2 days after I got it. I have the reverse, like how you wear the Y3s every day. I would, like, if I get a new pair of Yeezys, I will just fucking wear them nonstop for like weeks, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue with the Yeezy, there's a lot of suede on them, which is not a really durable material. Like, there's not really, like, you're not gonna get holes or anything. So in terms of that, it's fine. Like, in terms of keeping the silhouette intact, it's pretty good. But like, if you get fucking water on it, or God forbid, any sort of fucking, if you spill anything on it, they're fucked. In fact, actually, this is my second pair of the crate boot Yeezy. This is a season 4 one. I used to have the season 2 ones, and I just wore the fuck out of them. I was filming my first feature film, which is actually, the poster's right there. And I pretty much just wore it every fucking day for 2 months when we were filming. And I just destroyed the fuck out of it. Because the other big issue with this shoe in particular, I don't think any of the other Yeezys have this, but it has this sort of the gum sole on the bottom. And we live in Arizona. It gets hot as fuck. And it can melt. And it got to the point where like the bottom was just covered. You can kind of see a little dirt. So I'm way more careful with this pair. I don't wear it when it's fucking 100 degrees outside. But it just gets fucking rocks implanted into it, and it can kind of melt it, and the blackness at the bottom really just seeps up. So in terms of durability, it kind of depends what you mean. If it's preserving that initial out of the box look, I think the Y3s intrinsically kind of have the a lot of advancements just because of the neoprene material. Because with suede, it's just so hard to keep that intact. You know what I mean? But any time that I've worn a Y3 shoe that didn't have the neoprene, like my canvas ones, which canvas is a bit more comparable to suede in terms of just getting shit on it. That really didn't hold up nearly as well as some of my Yeezys have, and I didn't wear it nearly as much. Like I've worn it like a good amount, but the amount I've worn it in comparison to the amount I've worn some of my Yeezys and the damage that it's sort of sufficed, really it doesn't seem like a comparable variable. Good amount of the Y3 shoes are black. Like, it's probably the most prominent color.
Yeah.
So, which does sort of help to hide scuffs and shit like that.
That's true.
Whereas with a lot of the and I know a lot of the Yeezys do come in black, but just sort of my personal experience, I'm not really a black shoe kind of a guy. I like the tans, I like the whites. So like a scuff just shows up incredibly well on a fucking white shoe. It just sounds like a fucking sore thumb. So it really depends what you mean by durability. Because if you're talking about just durability, like just lastability versus lastability, then you could probably make an argument for the Y3s on that case. I do think they're more lastable. But if you try to take into consider the stylistic elements, like, okay, well, if, the Y3 has sort of these sort of stylistic elements that help improve some of the durability, like the black and the neoprene and all that shit. If you try to take into consider the stylistic elements in addition to the build, Personally, I just feel like I've had better results from the Yeezys. Considering also I wear them a lot more. I wore my Kaza highs while I was hiking, like an idiot, because I just got them. I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll go hiking with them. And it's got a bunch of fucking scratches on the bottom. But, I've done similar shit with my Desert Rats. Not the smaller ones probably would have gone fucked up, but I've gotten the Desert Rat boots, and they held up much better in those kind of situations. Y3s pretty much always come without the extra laces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeezys do not, which fucking kills me on the inside. I wish just one extra pair of fucking laces, dog, please. But it never happened. So you do get an extra pair of laces with Y3, which is hot.
Y3 has the extra laces. They have normal shoe boxes, I'd say. Not very nice at all, but they're plain shoe boxes. They come with dust bags, and the material of the dust bag has been different depending on which shoe I've purchased. Sometimes it's like cotton, sometimes it's silky, sometimes it's more like water resistant looking.
So the only ones that come with dust bags are the Yeezy Seasons. So
the mainline stuff?
Well, the Desert Rat boots do, which that's technically mainline.
Yeah.
But not really, because that's made in China, which is kind of the Desert Rat boots are kind of weird because they're made in China, but
they're mainline.
But they're cheaper. So it's like those were like $340, $350 around there. For the boots, which, a mainline boot is usually like $500 or whatever the fuck. So, you don't get any dust bags. You don't get any fucking laces. So, in terms of what comes in the box, the regular Adidas Yeezys, you don't really get a whole lot of fan service.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of style of back and forth banter. If you liked it a lot, then check out the podcast that I do with Lucas. And we also bring on our friends. And we kind of just go back and forth talking about all kinds of things in terms of philosophy and current events and just, all kinds of stuff. And
what's it called?
It's called the Trash Hat Podcast. I'll put a card or annotation somewhere on the screen, and they will also be linked down below. It's also on my channel. That's a pretty fun podcast we do every week, so check that out.
Every Friday. Also, I have my own channel, Lucas Gervy channel. I mainly just talk about, film, ideas of film, philosophy of film, different sort of film theories, comparing different types of movies to each other. So if that sounds interesting to you at all, I'm sure there'll be a link down below, and maybe Dakota will, put a card or annotation somewhere with my latest video.
Yeah, I'm the man behind the camera in his videos. He's the man behind the camera in mine. So, supporting both of us. I like his videos a lot. He helps me out a lot with mine as well. So. Kind of like duos where we dropping boys right into fashion and cinema, bitch.
We're gonna drop 100 times.
Yeah, so check out all the things that we make. We've been making them for a few months in unison, and I really like them all. So if you've been enjoying my fashion videos, I recommend the podcast and Lucas's videos as well.
It gets wacky.
Oh, yeah.